Let's see, I think we're going. All right, welcome everybody to our first ever VIP Club live movement feedback holography event. You should recognize me. I will be your host for tonight. I'm Brent, and we also have several of the participants in the first Awakening Intensive on the line to join us. So I think it'll be a great experience. I'm going to start off by giving a short introduction. I'm not going to do a long introduction like I do for the Wealth Club because this is a VIP Club only event. And hopefully I don't need to explain my story and how energy healing works and all that. Instead, I'm just going to talk for about maybe 10, 15 minutes about what movement is and how I learned it and why it's important and why I started doing this. And after that, we're going to jump right in and start doing some movement in front of the camera and giving people feedback. So first thing I want to do is cover just a couple technical things. It is important that when we do these calls that you have a headset, because the background noise will kill us. We can have up to 50 people simultaneously on these video conferences, which is wonderful, but even 5 or 10 people with background noise is going to kill the quality. So please make sure you have a headset on. Another big problem we have is echo. Whenever you're using the built-in microphone on the computer, especially on a group like this, what happens is the microphone picks up what's coming out of the speakers and creates a terrible echo. So that's why you see everyone should please have your headset on, and make sure that your Zoom is configured to use your headset. For those that haven't used Zoom before, down on the left bottom corner of your window, there's like a little picture of a microphone and a little up arrow. If you click the up arrow, it will tell you the microphone and the speakers it's using. So you want to make sure that your headset is selected there for the microphone and the speaker. Just a little technical thing. Just because you have it plugged in doesn't mean it's using it. As long as you have that, we are good to go. So that's really all there is to it. I'll give just a little introduction on what we're doing here. Movement feedback holography is one of the most important tools of higher dimensional living. And so let me pin myself. I'll put myself up, all right. And yeah, the problem with high definition video is you can all see I mangled myself shaving a couple hours ago. So anyhow, the bleeding stopped. If I start gushing blood, you can all do a healing on me, right? and so anyhow, this is the most important tool of embodiment. And so for those that haven't done the Awakening Dynamics Tools of Higher Dimensional Living class, really the system I created is based on this, what I call the 7 sacred tools of higher dimensional living: awakening, instant healing, muscle testing, intuitive readings, subconscious reprogramming, embodiment, manifesting are the 7. What we're going to do tonight is primarily a tool of embodiment. However, it is also really powerful for healing and manifesting. The movement is absolutely one of the most powerful tools there is, and I'll explain a little bit of the theory in a minute. And so I wanted to bring this to the VIP Club because I think this is one of the most powerful technologies that's available anywhere in the world, and there's really nobody else that's doing it. As far as I know right now, the only people doing movement are me in my classes and Carl Wolf, who I learned it from in his classes. There's no one else I'm aware of that's doing quite this, and it's just so powerful. As Carl likes to say, you start moving, you will add zeros to your income. And so the way I found this was I found Carl back in 2008. And what had happened was I was going through yet another dark night of the soul. It was like number 4 and number 5 for Brent. And a couple of things happened that really annihilated my life. One was I got sucked into an investment scam. I lost everything. I lost over $500,000 cash. I was over $1 million in debt. And the guy that did it will probably be dying in prison. But I was left bankrupt. And I was really desperate. At the same time, I also had a terrible, probably the worst heartbreak of my life. A woman that I had known for a long time who moved to LA, and we clicked, and I just fell crazy in love with her. And she just used me as her puppy dog best friend to cry on whenever her latest boyfriend treated her badly. So anyhow, this combination of losing all my money, ending up bankrupt, and having the worst broken heart of my life was devastating. And I was working with a dating coach and a life coach. And long story short, I did 100 hours with him. And he said, Brent, I don't know what to do with you. You're a really tough case. I'm going to kick you up the food chain. I think he introduced me to Carl Wolf, who was his teacher. And he told me about how Carl had this program called the Intensive Life Training. And it was $15,000. Later, it went up to $25,000. and you like danced and gave feedback and did these crazy movements, and you'd make way more money. And my first thought was, no, that's crazy. I can't afford that, and it's too much time. But anyhow, I had a session with Carl, and the way it actually happened was on November 10th, 2008, I filed for bankruptcy. On November 11th, 2008, 11/11, for those into numerology, the number of new beginnings. Funny coincidence, huh? On 11/11, I had my first skating session with Carl when I first did this movement. And the way he likes to do it is on rollerblades or on a tightrope, which are great movements. That's just impractical for the virtual aspect of this. So we're going to do some other movements that are more friendly to having people with a small area in front of a camera. But he had me roller skate and videotape me. And then we watched the video in his truck, and he basically just ripped me apart and told me all these things that were wrong with me and didn't do anything to fix it. And so I went home, I was a little disappointed, I felt a little ripped off. The next day I was interviewed on the radio, and the day after that I held a live event at the Bodhi Tree and had 120 people pack in, and I made like $15,000 that night. So literally within days of starting to do movement, I came off of bankruptcy and started to make more money than I ever had before. So I became a devoted student of his, took every training and class and session for about 5 years. Because that's about how long it really took me to get comfortable with this. And so that's what I want to offer to everybody here, is this amazing technology that I've been a little reluctant to bring out, only because it's so weird and different. It's not something that can be mastered with the mind. It's entirely an intuitive felt sensation. And so what we're essentially doing here is doing movements that will show us the energy, the myths, the beliefs that are running our lives. And again, can I ask anybody that's on, please make sure you stay muted when you're not talking, because we are getting some background noise. I don't want to, but if I see people unmuted, I may have to start kicking people off to maintain the call quality. So anyhow, basically the way it works is the energy you bring to everything shows up in everything you do. So you bring the same you to brushing your teeth, to eating a burrito, to washing your car, to standing in line at the grocery store. And if you know how to read energy, you can see the energy patterns, the myths, the stories that are running someone's life. And we do the movements to facilitate that. And what happens is when you get the feedback about what's really going on, it penetrates the myth and sets you free. And so I'm not going to give a long explanation. For those that want a longer, more detailed explanation, there's a VIP Club series called Movement Feedback Holography that you can check out. It's like an hour of video and a whole bunch of articles that explain it in a lot of detail about exactly how it works. This is also the technology that we teach in the weekend training classes. We start doing movement in level 1, and I beam everybody with energy, and we start learning how to give feedback. And in level 2, most of the class is devoted to this, and it's a really amazing transformational experience. If I had to give a quick explanation of what we're doing is, all of us are really sort of plugged into this divine internet, this cosmic internet. And when we are present, when there's not a lot of stories or myths distorting our perception in our lives, it's like having a big pipe up to the internet. Life literally flows through you. And when you are present, meaning full of energy, embodied, literally in your body, life tends to work really well. Coincidence happens. Things you could never expect or plan, amazing things will happen all the time. When you live in the mind and the ego, it's very frustrating because we're always trying to make things go the way we want. And there's a lot of setbacks. And so all the subconscious blocks, all these stories and myths, they're like kinks in the pipe. And the more stories and myths you're running, the more that connection to the divine gets shut off, the more you get put into your head. And that's what causes us to be poor, to get sick, to be miserable, to suffer. And so the block clearing work we do, like in the Wealth Club and in the programs, is a great complement. It's an alternate technology. So that's why the subconscious reprogramming and embodiment are 2 of the 7 tools. Those are the 2 action tools. They do most of the heavy lifting. And so by doing the movement, you're literally taking these blocks out of your connection to the divine flow. And one thing that I love about the movement work is you will see transformation in front of your eyes. You will watch people change in seconds or minutes. And of course, it is a process. Not everyone's going to be a millionaire after 1 session. Some people might. It's a process, but you will see the change. You will see their face shift. You will sense the difference in their energy. And I want to emphasize that The primary purpose of doing these groups is to give everybody the opportunity to participate, to learn to read energy. So I hope that everyone that's on the call is not just sitting around waiting to go in front of the camera. You're going to miss 95% of the benefit if you do that. You get out of it what you put into it. So I encourage everybody to participate, to give feedback, to comment. You can unmute yourself, give a comment at any time. You don't have to ask permission or anything, as long as we don't get too out of control. You're welcome. Just unmute, give whatever comment or feedback you have, and then put yourself back on mute. If you're uncomfortable with that for whatever reason, or your camera or microphone isn't working, you can also type messages into the chat room. And as I see those come up, I will relay them to the group. So really, it's an amazing technology to literally get into your body, to help us identify these kinks and blocks in the flow of energy that are our belief systems. They are our myths. And again, the purpose of this is primarily to be part of a group, to learn how to read energy, to learn how to give feedback. Because when you learn to read energy, that's absolutely one of the most valuable skills you can have in life. If you're going to decide who to date, or who to hire, or who to work for, or who, a real estate agent to use, or a doctor, or anybody, this is such an important skill. And the way you'll get that is participating in these groups. Of course, you'll also get some transformation when you're in front of the camera, but that's secondary. Really, the primary purpose is to give everyone an opportunity to learn to read energy. It's such an important skill. I will let everyone know there's usually 3 stages to that process. When we first start doing it, I'm going to give some feedback. I see Annette, because she was the first on, and there's a couple other people from my Awakening Intensive. You'll hear us saying things like, oh, they're throwing it away, they're brushing it off, they're keeping it small, whatever the myth is. When we first start doing this, you might not make the connection. You might think, wow, this Brent guy is just crazy. Where's he getting this from? But stay with it. You will start to, over time, what will happen is the second stage is we'll give feedback, and you'll see it after we call it out. In other words, someone's doing some movements, and we go, hey, you're kind of brushing it off. And you go, hey, I kind of see that. I kind of get it. It is an intuitive process, though. It's a matter of feeling it, of reading it. So it's not an intellectual mapping. It's not a, well, this hand went here and this arm went there, so it means this. No, that's not how this works. You will just literally, the mist will scream at you from the movement. So again, step 1 is you'll hear us giving feedback and think maybe we're nuts. You won't get it. And can I please ask whoever's on the line, please make sure you stay muted. We're getting a lot of background noise. Someone's banging around in their kitchen. So everybody, please make sure you're muted. Janice is not muted. Andre is not muted. It is important we all stay muted. Thank you. So we don't have to hear everything that's going on. All right, so stage 1, you'll hear the feedback and think we're kind of nuts because you won't get it. Stage 2, when you've done enough of it, which for some people is 10 minutes, for some people it's instant, for others it may be a couple months. It took me maybe 5 or 6 groups like this before I started to get it when people called it out. So I'll say, hey, you're throwing it away, and go, oh, I kind of see that. The third stage is you'll be able to see and read the energy without someone calling it out. That takes some time. That took me several months, maybe a year. But that's why I'm here, and that's why Annette's here, and some other people from my intensive group, which is the most advanced training where we do this on a regular basis. So we're going to jump in and start doing some movements in a second. For those that came late, hopefully you saw my email. For some reason, the URL got mangled. This is what happens when we do things for the first time. So welcome to everybody from the VIP Club. I just want to reiterate, make sure you are please using your headset. If you use the built-in microphone and speaker on the computer, it causes a lot of echoes and poor audio quality. So if you want to come on and either do movement or give feedback, make sure you got your headset on and have it working. If you don't, you can always type messages into the chat room, and I will relay that to the group. So if you didn't get your headset for today, no problem. You can still participate via chat. What we're going to do is I want to give priority to the silver members of the VIP Club. So we'll go through this for going on camera. If we'll go for an hour, maybe a little more, and if we are able, we'll spend 3, 5, 7 minutes per person, something like that. I do want to try to get several people in. If we get through all the silver members who want to go, then we'll go to the bronze members, and we'll go for about an hour and see where it goes. So is there anybody that wants to volunteer to go first? go ahead and unmute yourself and just say hello. So is there any silver members that would like to go first? For people that haven't seen this, okay.
Nobody else came up to the plate, so I will.
All right. And you are?
Well, I go by a customary calling Osesica, because it's illegal to use the legal name. But
do you have video? We don't see video.
I don't have video.
Okay, yeah, well, you need to have video to participate with the movement. You're welcome to give feedback, but it's going to be a little hard to see your movements without the video.
Yeah. Okay.
But thank you for participating.
Okay, thanks.
All right, does someone with a camera like to go? I'll put me back up. And so for those that haven't done this before, generally the two movements we do for beginners are the handshaking, which just looks something like this. You shake your hands, and we're going to read the energy patterns that are coming off of it. The other one that's great for beginners is the energy scooping. Just imagine that the space around you is filled with money or energy or love or whatever it is you want more of in life. And so you just reach out and pull it into you. Those are the two basic movements that you can get an enormous amount of mileage out of. So anybody that wants to go, just let me know, unmute yourself. I will pin the camera on you, and you can start doing them. Yes. Who's this?
Marilyn.
All right, Marilyn. All right, let me pin your video here.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yep.
What do I need to do?
Just give me 1 second to pin your video. All right, just start either shake. You have your choice. You can either do the handshaking or the scooping.
Okay. Let me see the handshaking.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yep. Keep at it. So the first thing we're seeing is it's kind of a get it off me. Love, life, money. She feels is kind of dirty, and she's trying to get away from it. It's like it's the world is unclean. There's also a very two-dimensional quality to it. It's like everything is in a flat, up and down plane. Those are the things that immediately jump out at me. Anybody else have feedback, especially those from the Awakening Intensive? I see.
It's too dark.
It is kind of dark. Is it possible for you to turn on more light, Marilyn?
Oh, I'm not sure. I only have one light.
Okay, it is kind of dark.
Yeah.
We'll do the best we can. You can also see how it's like she sees the world as either unsafe or dirty. You can see how there's a disconnect between her and everything that's out there. She's trying to hold herself back. It's like
she's trying to hide in the dark.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, or like she's an observer to everything, not participating.
Yes, that's wonderful feedback. That's really well put. So it's like you want to hold yourself back and watch, but you don't want to fully commit. You don't want to be part of life.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyone else have feedback for her?
Part of her's got light, and then part of her doesn't. It's like.
Yeah, it's funny how it is not a coincidence that you chose to be in an area with insufficient light. And I think that's part of what's going on with your life, is you're sort of holding yourself in the dark.
Try bringing in some light. Imagine that you're bringing in some light, and you're lighting. And fill yourself up with light.
One of the questions a lot of people will ask when we do this is, okay, now that I get the feedback, now what?
Yes.
And so I'll give a couple answers to that. You can go ahead and relax for a second, Marilyn. We don't want to wear you out. We'll have you do some more movement in a second. Number one is, a lot of the time there's nothing that has to be done. Simply by becoming aware of these mythologies, they will start to dissolve themselves simply from the awareness. And so that's part of it. If you want to do something, what we'll generally do is, on the second round of movement, which we're going to do with Marilyn in just a second, we'll have you exaggerate the opposite. What that means is, whatever we're telling you that you don't like, you want to exaggerate that. So in this case, you're kind of holding yourself back, staying in the dark. You kind of want to push the world away. You want to exaggerate that. Really hold yourself back. really get in the dark, really see the world as gross and distasteful. And what happens is by exaggerating the opposite, it lowers our resistance to that which we're judging and allows it to disappear. So Marilyn, let's go ahead and do round 2. Go ahead and do some more shaking. But exaggerate whatever you didn't like about what we heard. Good. Exaggerate the world is dirty, it's dangerous, you want to get it off of you. So you'll notice for everyone watching, she's already immediately dropped in to some degree. There's life now. She has vitality. Before it was kind of this robotic up and down. Now she's actually present. There's a little bit of joy from her getting the attention. So really imagine that the world is dark and dirty and you want to get it away. You know, get it away from me. Get it away from me. This is good. Anybody have feedback from Marilyn?
She seems to have more power in her movement now.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot. That's a great observation. There's a lot more power in her. Now that she's trying to exaggerate the bad part, what happens is it actually opens your pipe. There's vitality in her. So when we stop fighting the dark side of ourselves, it opens the pipe and we light up. So we have to get over being small, being weak, being dirty, being whatever evil. When we stop trying to avoid that stuff, the pipe opens and life shows up. It's pretty incredible. Great observation. And we are getting some background noise.
Sorry.
I can...
yeah, I think someone is working outside.
Okay. I'll mute Marilyn just for a second, just so we can get rid of the background noise. Is there anybody else that has feedback from Marilyn?
I saw that it freed her up, that she's enjoying it, the new movement, and that
Good.
she
Yes.
frees her up.
That's a good observation. That's exactly what we're looking for. We are truly freeing you up. That's what happens when we remove a blockage. The energy starts moving. And you'll see people will feel the movement should start to become fun at some point, because that's what life is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be all struggle and hard work. It's supposed to be there is challenges and obstacles, but you can be doing hard work, but if you're present and in your body as you do it, there will be no suffering. And so that's great feedback.
She looks much lighter now too.
Yeah, and her smile is very genuine here.
Yeah.
Many of us run around with kind of a fake smile, we've learned. But this is real. You know, we've connected her, and you notice just a couple minutes of movement and some feedback, we've connected her up to her joy, to her divine source. Jose asked, are the changes permanent? For the most part, yes. For the most part, once we clear the blockages, they stay clear. Let me see if there's any other comments from the chat room. All right, so Marilyn, let me unmute you here. We just want to see how you feel, then we'll move on to the next person. Oops. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
how you feeling, Marilyn?
I feel good.
Good.
I feel very good.
What did you get out of all this?
Well, I think you're correct. I have been trying to avoid the world, and I don't usually want to participate. It's unusual for me to volunteer.
Good.
So
well,
when I did
for volunteering.
this morning, it was something that really I had to will myself to do it.
Good.
But now I think I'm more relaxed about it.
Good. Yeah, you look very relaxed. So that's great. So this is the energy that we just want you to hold all the time. And it's normal when we go back to life, you may fall out of it a little bit, but you just have to keep going back to it until it becomes sort of your baseline.
Yeah. The funny thing is I have somehow known it, but I've never acknowledged it until you told me.
It's funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
So I was able to immediately relate with what you told me.
Good. Means we're on the right track. Excellent. Well, thank you, Marilyn.
I was not
Round of applause.
Thank you.
So, with any other silver members that would like to go in front of the camera? Let me know. And
Hi, my name is Jose. I would like to go.
okay, Jose, let me
Okay,
find you
I'm
here.
going to go to another room.
Let me find you here on the little list so I can pin the video on you. There we are.
Okay.
All right. All right, Jose, let's go for it. You want to do handshaking or scooping? Handshaking. All right, let's see it. First thing is notice he's keeping it real small. There's like a dainty, princessy energy to it.
I get icky.
Yeah, there is a little bit of distaste. It's almost like you're too good for what's around you. It's like the nobility slumming in the village, out in the field. You're like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. This is beneath me.
I don't like this.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. And by it, I think it's being physical, being human. You'll notice that there's an efforting if you look at his face. Don't take this as criticism. It's just, it's like you're doing it because you have to. And not just the movement, but like everything in life. It's like, I don't really want to be here doing this, but I have to, so okay. But you can make me do it, but you can't make me be happy about it. That's kind of the the energy I'm picking up. You'll
Can
also
we have him be on the video more? I mean,
he should be pinned.
I'm only seeing him at the top.
You can right click on his window and select pin video.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Should I go closer to the camera?
No. Where you were was fine.
Okay. He seems to keep looking into his head instead of looking inside.
Yeah.
He keeps looking up.
Absolutely. There's a blindness to this. I'm glad you pointed that out. There's not a lot of vision. He's pretty much unaware of everything going on except what's right in front of him. You'll see that he's completely blind to what's happening on the sides and totally blind to what's happening around behind him. Not unusual. Most of us don't have a lot of vision because we've been so entrained into the mind by our society.
Yeah, he's very much inside his head.
Yeah, there's a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
You can see the command centers up in the middle of the brain here, huh? But this is really good feedback. Anyone else have feedback for Jose?
It's like a robot rather than a person.
That's really good. There is a robotic quality here. It's sort of doing it by rote. You know, he's showing up and do it because he has to do it. But
he's not enjoying it at all.
He's not enjoying it at all. It's like, you know, it's the, you can make me do it, but you can't make me like it. It's like he's getting revenge on God by being miserable. A lot of us do that.
There's some upsetness too. Or even a bit of anger.
Yeah, he's very annoyed. There's an annoyance going on. It's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this?
But to me, underneath the annoyance and anger is a kind of sadness.
Yeah, let's see if, Jose, if we can exaggerate that. Exaggerate the sadness. Exaggerate the pain, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I'm too good for this. You're really sad and you're in a lot of pain because you really don't want to be doing this because you're way too good for this.
It looks like his head's connecting to his body.
A little bit, yeah. And there's a little confusion as this connection happens. He's so used to the head running the show.
He looks a little pissed off about it, too.
Yeah, now he's moving into sort of an angry me. If you can see that. It's like, it's me, it's all about me. So let's see if you can exaggerate that, Jose. It's all about you. It's all about you. Everything's you. Bring it in, all about you. Okay, you can see how he's starting to connect because now there's a rhythm to his movements. Before it was sort of monotonous. Now there's a rhythm to it. So he's starting to show up a little bit, which is good. And for anyone that can't see Jose, you might need to scroll a little bit. The software is supposed to bring him up, but if you left-click on his window and click the pin video, that will pin his video on the main screen. So Jose, go ahead and relax for a second. What are you feeling as you're doing this?
What you're saying, it's like some of the things I think they are true. Like I am a little bit sad. Probably the energy that I display, it's and I don't realize it's the thing that you were saying, that I am too good for this. And I am in my head a lot. And I don't like to be in my head a lot. I don't know how to. I have over and ruminating thoughts.
Yeah. But let's see if we can exaggerate that. Just try to move totally from your head. Yeah, go ahead and take a few steps back so we can see a little more of you. Yeah, there you go. Imagine, really exaggerate. The head is running the show. You got to think about everything. You got to figure it out, and you got to make it happen. It's like, oh my God, I have a body. What's this thing attached to my head?
Yeah, but the thinking of it almost makes him look like he's working harder to do the movement.
Let's exaggerate the hard work. This is really hard work. It's a ton of effort. That's freeing me up a little bit. See if you can make it really rigid and robotic.
Yeah, life is slowly coming back to his body.
Yeah, the robotic seems to be working best. This seems to work best for you. Keep it really rigid and controlled and robotic. You can feel there's a little bit of joy starting to trickle in. It's like he's having a little bit of fun, but he doesn't want to admit it. You can see his body's enjoying it, but his head is not. So there's kind of this disconnect where he's like, he's having fun, but he doesn't want us to see he's having fun. It's like if they realize I'm enjoying this, they'll stop paying me to do it, something like that. So really rigid, really stiff, really robotic. Controlled. So, see, we're just starting to penetrate. You notice he's starting to see a little more. There's a little bit of vision coupled with confusion. It's like he's starting to see and isn't sure what to make of it. And that's okay.
He's softening up.
So that confusion is a good place to be. Jose, what are you feeling as we do this?
I don't know. It's a little bit more fun.
Good. That's what we want. You know you're moving in the right direction when it starts to feel a little more fun. We get into the flow. Remember, life is a journey, not a destination. We all end up in the same place, huh? Go ahead and relax for a second. Anyone else have feedback for Jose? So Jose, I think what worked best for you was the really rigid controlled. And
do I do it like that?
Yeah. Exaggerate that on your own. Really make things rigid and controlled, because that's what the mind does. It tries to grab onto the world and make it go exactly the way we want.
In my everyday life?
Sure. Now, use common sense, right? You can't do this all the time. But by giving yourself permission to exaggerate that which is controlling you, you'll break free of it.
Mm.
And a lot of the time, it's uncomfortable. Of course it is. As an example, one thing I did that was really uncomfortable but helped me a lot, the dating coach I was telling you about. One thing he had me do was we went to like a bunch of lunch places when it was busy at lunch rush hour, and he had me ask people if I could cut in line in front of them. Oh my God, I would never do that. Unless it was like someone's life was on the line. I would never be that rude to just go cut in a line, right? But that's exactly why he had me do it. I had to get past it. And I'm not saying make that your normal way of being day to day, but whatever is holding us back, whatever we're afraid of, we got to go face it. You have to move into that discomfort. Then you'll stop resisting it so much. And then it loses.
Like, can you give an example of what do I need to do, like to be more controlled?
Whatever seems really uncomfortable or scary to you, you start doing that a little bit until you get over it. So what's something that probably would be good for you to do, but you don't want to?
Okay, I have to think about that.
Okay, you can think about it. For me, one was approaching women. I was terrified that if I went and tried to hit on some woman at the grocery store, she'd get pissed off or call the police or something. And then once I did it a couple times, I realized it was nothing to be afraid of. So that's,
okay.
but within common sense, right? Don't hurt anybody, don't break any laws. But whatever it is that we're uncomfortable with, that's where we need to go. Because the mind tries to hold a death grip on our world. And as long as the mind is rigidly controlling, it's just blocking that flow, just squeezing it right off. So thumbs up for Jose. A little round of applause. Yay.
Okay, thank you.
Put you back on mute. And is there anyone else at silver level that would like to go in front of the camera?
Yeah, Brent, I'm not sure if I'm silver or not.
Okay.
This is Andre.
Well, we'll let you go. You can look it up later. If
Okay.
no one else is volunteering, go ahead. Welcome, Andre. Would you like to do the handshaking or the scooping?
Let's say scooping.
All right, let's see some scooping. So what is it you'd like to have more of in life? Love, money, health, fame?
I have lots of love.
What's top of the list right now?
Top of the list right now is money and health.
Okay. If you had to pick one just for tonight, what would it be?
Okay, for tonight I'll pick money.
Okay, great. So imagine there's all this money all around you, filling the space.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is reach out and pull it from your chest, and it's yours.
Okay.
So let's see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that jumps out is you can see how it's just slipping right through his fingers.
Yeah, that seems to be a case.
Yeah, you're actually reaching out into the world, projecting pretty powerfully, but very little's coming in.
He's stopping before he gets to it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So he has to go back out because it drops before he can bring it in.
It's a good observation. He's dropping it. He's also smearing a little bit on his chest instead of bringing it in. So, and then this is a key part of this movement.
He's hoping it'll stick if he.
Yeah, he thinks if he just keeps smearing it on his chest, it's somehow going to make it in by osmosis.
Yeah, it's tough for him to bring it in.
Yeah, it is.
He's making it tough for himself to bring it in.
Yes, you can see how he's uncomfortable with the movement inside.
Right.
Notice when he's going out, he's very comfortable with reaching out. But when it comes in, it's like, no, I don't like to do this. Let's see you do it really slow, or real slow, even slower.
Kind of looks like there's a shield all in front of his face and down his body.
There is.
Blocking
Yeah.
it.
There is an energetic shield. That's why you can see he's kind of smearing it on his chest. He's kind of smearing the money on his shield rather than letting it come in. It's a good observation.
It's almost like he doesn't feel he deserves to have it. He shouldn't be bringing it in. He doesn't deserve to have it.
Yep, that's really good. Let's see if you can exaggerate that, Andre. You don't deserve this money. You're just a worthless load of crap. Everyone else should have the money, not you.
You're allowed to give but not receive.
So, interesting. This is a good one for you, Andre, because you'll notice there's a little bit coming in now. Most of it is still being thrown off to the side.
Yeah.
But there's, instead of smearing it on your chest, there's a little bit that's starting to penetrate. So let's see if we can amp that up. You don't deserve to have any of this. Money is for other people. So the hitch in the movement disappeared. There was a little hitch you had earlier. Let's slow it down again. That was really good when you were going slow.
What if you brought in nothing?
Yeah, we'll try that. Keep it real slow. Bring in nothing. There's nothing out there. Very interesting. When we switch from the money to the nothing, instead of bringing it into you, you're kind of throwing it under your armpits now. Okay, next we'll have Dan and then Adriana. So instead of bringing it in, see if you can smear it all over this big shield on your chest. Exaggerate that. That helps. Now, ooh, he's starting to connect. This is good. He's starting to get into the field. This is good. Oh, and he took it personally and started to disconnect a little. So it's okay. There's nothing personal about the feedback. It's just what's happening. But you can, everyone should be, it's more of a feeling than a seeing. His movement is very fluid now. He can feel the movement. He can feel the space, and he can feel what he's bringing in. There's not much coming in. It's just he's only allowing himself a little bit right now, but that's okay.
It looks like he's reaching further out now and bringing.
Yeah. There's a certain grace to the movement that was lacking before.
Well, the hands are crossing over on top of each other, like they're bringing in a bit more than originally when it fell through his fingers.
It's before it was all slipping through his fingers. Now he's actually bringing some in. Mm. And you notice at the end of the movement, there's a little bit of self-love showing up. Mm. A lot of people kind of abuse themselves when they bring it in. This is a very nurturing. Like he's bringing in the food, the love, the nurturing. And that's really good.
Goes a bit on and off, seeing the money. Seeing, actually, sometimes he sees and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like he can see, but he's not always looking at it. Mm-hmm. It's like he's distracted sometimes. No, but this is really good. Andre, you're going to see when you watch the recording, and for everyone, definitely watch the recording if you can. You'll see the difference in your movement. This is a pretty noticeable change. Because now you're actually able to bring it in, and there's some nurturing and a little bit of self-love showing up. And it's a much more pleasant experience when you're embodied. It's weird, but performers that are in their body, you will want to look at them. They'll hypnotize you. Someone that has great technique but no presence, you'll constantly get distracted and bored and do other things. So his
body is much more relaxed.
Yeah.
And that's why he has ease of movement now.
Yep.
Yeah, I am relaxed now.
Andre, what are you feeling?
I am relaxed right now.
Good.
More relaxed, yes.
I think you are exactly where you need to be. This is really good. And again, make sure you watch the video. You'll be amazed at the change you see. Let's give Andre applause. Yay.
Yay. I feel like he's
Excellent.
drinking it in.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
He's drinking.
Good job.
Good job. All right, Dan. Dan's up next. Let me find Dan here. So everybody, let's pin. You might want to find Dan and pin him on the video. All right, welcome, Dan.
Hi, Brian. Good. Hi.
You want to move back? Yeah, you want to move back a little bit or stand up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. That's good.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to take this off. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. All right. Can you tilt up a little bit? Yeah. There we go. Perfect. All right. You want to do some handshaking or you want to do some scooping?
Handshaking.
Okay. Let's see it.
Okay.
Get it off me. Oh God, get it off me. It's like he's on a bad acid trip. The bugs. There's bugs all over me. Get them off me. Get them off me. There's also some self-consciousness. You're a little irritated that you've been put on stage or have to perform. Is there sort of like an angry screw you kind of coming at us?
It feels really disconnected from his body.
Yeah, it's almost like the hands are part of someone else's body.
I feel sadness.
Now there's a sadness too. There's also a vulnerability.
A choking. Like he's trying to pull, he's choking.
It's like he's trying to hold himself back.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It looks like it's someone else's hand shaking in front of his body. There's a certain resentment. It's like a gladiator pissed off that he has to go fight to the death so some rich people can have a show. Something like that. Dan, go ahead and relax for a second. What were you feeling as you were doing this?
I'm trying to take it all in without judging myself or getting upset at feedback.
I mean, if you get upset, it's okay. Just whatever you're feeling. No need to filter it.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it in.
Okay. Well, let's hear less about what you're trying to do and more about what you're feeling.
I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm trying to.
Okay. So embrace that confusion.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop trying to do anything. Just trust that whatever you're feeling, whatever's happening is right in the moment. And, obviously there's some myth running where you're trying to be a good boy, huh? That's part of what's going on here. It's like you're putting on a show for us, but you don't like it, but you think you have to. So go ahead and be upset. Go ahead and be resentful that, that you're in front of the camera, that people are judging you or whatever it may be. Good. So this is a lot more real. Does everyone feel how much more powerful he is here? Dan, it's going to hit you like a hammer when you watch this video.
Okay.
Your male power is really showing up here. Which is why I say there's no shame in being angry, upset, resentful. Whatever's there is there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're much more solid here. There's a lot more power. You also look a little bored. Let's see if we can amp that up. Be really bored. Bored, angry, resentful. You don't want to be doing this, but you have to. Yeah, the anchor seems to be what sets you free the best. So get as angry as you can. Show us how darn pissed you are at everything. Now this is really good. His power is showing up in big time. What I'm also seeing is there's a little bit of love and joy, but it can't break through quite yet.
Yeah, smiling is good too.
Yeah, smiling's fine, but don't force it. So
but the little smile or laugh was almost like, oh, they caught me out.
Yes.
You know, I'm actually really pissed, but oh.
There was a little bit of a genuine smile when the joy showed up. That's why I say the joy is there, but it can't quite break through yet. But if it does, it's okay. Feel how silly the anger is. So now he's gone a little blind. He's not sure where he is. He's looking around. You've spent so long in resistance to the anger that you're not sure what to do if you stop fighting it. So now some genuine joy is showing up. That's really good. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. It's also okay to be happy. It's okay for us to see that you're happy. Let's have you amp up tough. Be really tough. Yeah, he loves being tough. Can everyone see that? The joy really shows up. You like being the tough guy, huh? It's all right. Again, there's no shame. All of us are exactly the way God made us. But the anger and the tough is really working for you. Go ahead and relax for a second. We don't want to kill you here. Let's get some feedback from everybody else. What were you seeing as he was doing these movements?
Yeah, I think he looked a lot more comfortable doing the tough, and like that is really who's in there, but somebody else has been telling him he can't do that. He can't live in that, expressing that, you know?
Yeah.
Expressing his own power.
What does that mean? I think she's right about that. What happened that made you think it's not okay to be tough and powerful?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, because you do have this powerful male energy. There really is a tough guy in you, but it's been judged. It's like you're trying to be too much of the new age guy. You're trying to be nice or a good boy. That's kind of how I saw it at first as well. I have to be a good boy. And for all of us, one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves and our family is stop trying to be a good little boy or girl. Just be exactly who you are. And there's a lot of power and strength and toughness in you. But you've tried to like cover it up a little bit with a little bit of a feminine facade.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's okay. You know, just it is what it is. No big deal. But it's very interesting because usually we see the opposite.
And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Usually we see a man that has a strong feminine side that judges it and tries to bury it under toughness. That's more common. We're seeing the opposite here. Not that you don't have feminine energy, but you have a really good toughness of power that you're trying to hide, that you've judged as being wrong. And when you let it out, I mean, it was really amazing how your power just showed up. You know, my guess is if you showed up with that power on a date, a woman would go nuts. But it has to be genuine, right? It can't be an act. They're too smart for that. Yeah, and the confusion you're feeling is really good. This is genuine. So I want everyone to see how Dan is actually showing incredible strength here with his vulnerability. He's not trying to tell me what I want to hear. He's not trying to put on a show. He's just being present to what's happening, which is awesome. And it actually sunk in when I told you stop trying. That actually sunk in. I'm quite pleased. You don't have to try for anything. I mean, it's okay if you do. But you've been through the awakening, you know, more than once, right?
Right.
You've got all the right facts bouncing around in your head, which is a great foundation. You know,
Yeah, sorry. You know,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I've been awakening and I've done some of the movement with Carl.
Uh-huh.
And that's why tonight's feedback is kind of opposite. Because some of the feedback I've had in the past was bullying energy. I was being bullied.
Uh-huh.
You know, so to be the bully or to be the tough guy or whatever is kind of the opposite.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's not at all unusual with energy that sometimes the energy is what you think it is, and sometimes it's the exact opposite.
Well, also, isn't being a bully energy is different than having powerful energy?
It is. I would say a bully is different than a tough guy.
Right.
You know, a bully is a coward who's using his power to put people on the defensive so he doesn't get attacked.
Yeah.
A tough guy is a tough guy. He can take it. He doesn't have to prove to anybody how tough he is because he knows how tough he is. And there's a little bit in you, there's a little shame about that. It's like you're a little ashamed of being powerful or tough or strong.
Okay, well, that's a new one on me.
Yeah, and that's okay. And the new ones are really good. For everybody, confusion is absolutely wonderful. Because confusion is what happens when you take out an old belief system and replace it with one better. You know, I just got a new car recently. And was there confusion the first several times I drove it? Yes. Because things weren't where I thought they would be, right? You know, I'd reach for what I thought was the windshield wipers and it would change gears. And I'm like, whoa. And I kept turning on the autopilot when I meant to turn on the headlights and all that kind of stuff. So what we're seeing here, Dan's actually taking in the feedback, which is really good to see. And you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to know how you feel. You don't have to know what the answer is. None of that matters. Anyone else have feedback for Dan? All right, so I think you're exactly where you need to be. And, you know, it's okay to be strong, to be tough, to be masculine. You know, you don't have to be ashamed of that. You don't have to hide it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I want to leave Dan now, not to shortchange him on time, but he's exactly where he needs to be. Good. Let's see who we have next. Okay, we'll have Adriana and then Lisa. So Adriana, everybody, you might want to find Adriana on your little list of participants and pin her. All right, there she is. And go ahead and unmute yourself, Adriana.
All right.
All right, welcome.
I don't know if you see my face. It's like just
a little hard. Is there any way to get some light in front of you?
in front of me.
Yeah, the light is behind you, so we can't really see. You're
Yeah,
very
that's
dark in
right.
front.
I am trying. Is
Okay,
that better?
That's better, yes. To take a step to your left. I think that was a little.
My left.
Yeah, turn the computer. It was just a little better light there.
Uh,
So just for everybody that wants to go in front of the camera, try to make sure we can see you. So there needs to be some light in front of you or overhead.
I may have to move the computer. Let me see.
Okay.
Just so I have no place to put it here.
That's all right. You don't need to see the computer when you're doing movement.
Can I take off my headset because it's
Yeah, if you
I
need
have a
to.
short cord.
Yeah, if you need to do the movement, that's fine. Just make sure you mute yourself if you're going to put it on the speaker. All right, go ahead. You going to do handshaking or scooping for us?
Scooping.
All right, let's see it.
Okay.
Your lighting is great. Okay, can everyone see how there's almost nothing coming in? She's kind of bringing it across her body and then letting it go.
Yeah, I see. I want it.
Yeah, there's a grasping. It's a great visual example of how law of attraction teachers will say wanting things pushes them away, which is true. Because you're reinforcing the condition of wanting, which precludes having.
It's almost like when she gets it close to her body, it's like oil and it just slips away.
Yeah, it is. It's slipping right off. It's slipping down. You can see how it's slipping, and then she kind of drops it onto the floor.
Some helplessness
Yeah.
in it.
So
Confusion why she can't grasp it.
Yeah, there is confusion, which is almost always good.
To me, it seems more like just stirring it up rather than scooping it in.
There is.
And then she goes into her head thinking, well, how do I get it?
Yeah, those are both great comments. There is, she really is more stirring that up than scooping it in. So she's kind of flailing around causing motion, but there's nothing coming into her. It's coming close to her, but not coming in. And you can see the mental process going on of trying to figure it out, which is totally natural. So let the mind go do whatever it is, and just come back to the present. So let's have you, Adriana, try to exaggerate the things you've heard that you didn't like. So the throwing it away, letting it slip off of you, see if you can exaggerate that. This is very interesting because she's connected more to her blindness now. It's there, but it's like it's integrated, it's whole now. Before, the head and the arms and the body were kind of disconnected. Now they're all working together to flail and miss, which sounds crazy. It sounds like negative feedback, but it's actually a good step. Because when your body can integrate to all perform one task at once, it's just a matter of redirecting a little bit to get it to do the right thing. So everyone watching, you can see how she's really much better connected now. She's still missing and flailing, but it's like a purposeful movement of the whole body instead of kind of disconnected pieces.
I'm not sure if she's still exaggerating something, but it seems like she's just throwing it behind her shoulders rather than scooping it in again.
Yeah, let's say if we can exaggerate the throwing it away. As you bring it in, throw it away. So we're starting to see a little bit come in. She's not bringing it in with her hands, she's bringing it in with her elbows. So as she's trying to throw it away with her hands, something's actually coming in through the elbows. Kind of wild.
So there's a disconnection between her elbows and her hands?
Well, it's not so much a disconnect. It's she's so focused on making the hands throw it away that she's not noticing the elbow bring it in. Okay. Adriana, go ahead and relax. Shake it out for a second. Well, we'll have her go again in a second, but it's nice to just take a break in the middle to shake it out. Anyone else have feedback for her on what we saw so far?
It seemed like she didn't really believe that she deserves any of that.
Okay, that's good. So see if you can show us that you really don't deserve it. Whatever you're trying to bring in, you don't deserve this at all. You're doing something terribly wrong by bringing it in. Let's see what that looks like.
I don't really know how to do this.
That's okay. What's really interesting is now she's starting to bring in some self-love. Yeah, it looks like she's giving herself a hug.
Yeah, it's better now, not worse.
Yeah, it's better. She's not totally comfortable with it. She's keeping it as a small hug for now. But she is allowing some love in. Adriana, what is it you're visualizing bringing in?
Money.
Okay.
Opportunities, if you want.
Okay, no problem.
She's reaching out more.
It's almost like she doesn't know how to hold on to it.
Yeah. She's kind of flailing around. It's like someone's first time on ice skates or something. So imagine you're flailing around, just kind of wild and uncoordinated. What would that look like? Now that actually starts to look pretty good.
She's letting it go.
Yeah, now you're letting it go. Now there's some real joy showing up. I think we got it. The wild, flailing, uncoordinated, that's the piece you needed. You see, now there's joy showing up. She's liking it. She's a little embarrassed by it. You can see, which is okay. But now she's actually bringing some in and she's enjoying the process.
She doesn't know what it feels like to have so much.
Yeah. Yep, we got it.
He brings in more.
Yep. So Adriana, that's the piece that really works for you. Wild, flailing, uncoordinated. When you did that, you really started to connect. You'll see it when you watch the recording. The smile is gone now, but it was there when you were moving and flailing around. There it goes. That's the joy we want to connect you to. You bring that to your day-to-day life, people will be lining up to work with you. That's sort of contagious. So that's really good. Anyone else have feedback for Adriana?
In the beginning, it looked like a little, like she was kind of desperate, like I've tried everything, nothing is working, you know, and then when she exaggerated everything and it started to come in, I agree with the others that it's like she was happy that it's coming in, but it was kind of like, whoa, this is totally new energy for me. I don't know exactly how to maneuver in it.
Yeah, that's good feedback for sure. It's when we make a breakthrough, it often is very confusing, and that's okay. That's why I say the confusion is great. Whenever you feel confused, you know you're moving in the right direction. This is good. Anyone else have feedback? All right, round of applause for Adriana. Yay! Let's do one more tonight. Gretchen? Or Lisa. Yes, it is Lisa. Gretchen was asking about her headset. I'll try to help there. Lisa, come on up.
Hi, Brent.
Hello, let me find you on my video here. And remember, when you find Lisa, just right click and then pin the video. Or left click if you left-hand mouse like me. All right, you are well lit.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're a little blurry, but that's probably slow internet.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I moved into a new house with slow internet.
That's all right. We can work with it.
Okay.
You want to do handshaking or scooping for us?
Handshaking.
Okay. Can you tilt the camera up just a little bit so we can?
Let me try.
Just kind of cut your face off in the middle. So. All right.
Well, now you can't see my arms.
Yeah, now we can't see your arms. Down a little bit. A happy medium between those last two. All right, that works. Let's see it. First thing I see is like a hummingbird kind of energy.
Panic.
Yeah, it's like a really high frequency, a little distressed. Panic might be a little too strong of a word, but it's definitely that kind of feeling. Like, oh God, I'm going to drown. A house is burning down, something like that.
Right, but in her head, it's like, and I've got to keep it together.
Yeah, I say hummingbird because it's like you're exerting a huge amount of effort just to hover and stay where you are. Like someone that's in the water and thrashing around, exerting a lot of energy just to stay above the water.
I just had a vision of me doing that.
Yeah.
trying to get a new job, and I was holding on to a stick, and the water was crashing over me, and I'm like, just let go.
Yeah. You'll also see she's brushing it off her. There's not a lot of judgment of what she's brushing off, but it's more like, I just don't want this on me. Let's remove it. And she's quite the thinker, huh? Nothing goes into those ears that doesn't get massively processed by the brain. I get it. Can everyone see how there's a disconnect between the body and the hands? It's almost like it's someone else's hands that are shaking in front of her. You can see the head and the neck and the shoulders are well connected, but there's a break somewhere in the upper arm.
I get a little bit of puppeteer.
Yeah, I could see that. There's a little bit of a performance, a fake want to show people something. Anyone else have feedback?
It seems that when we talk to her, she changes it to something else.
Yeah, there's a trying and efforting. Trying to make it look or not look a certain way. So Lisa, let's make it look bad. You're flailing. You're using a huge amount of energy. You're just doing it totally wrong.
She's letting go of sadness.
The movement's a little more connected, but the mind is still firmly in the driver's seat.
That damn mind.
Yeah. Well, let's amp up the sadness. Let's see if that could help. Get really sad.
I think there's some conflict in there. The hands have always been far apart. They aren't together. I don't know why she doesn't want to bring them together to make them cooperate. There's a struggle, inner struggle for some reason.
Yeah, there's like a danger. It's like they're going to explode or something.
Yeah.
One's matter, one's antimatter. If they get too close, boom. So imagine your hands are at war with each other and they just don't want to work together or combine. All right, let's try this. I want you to really think about it. Just really grab those hands and control it. That's getting it a little bit. The hands are working together better. There's a rhythm to it. We're not quite there.
What if she slows it down real slow?
Yeah, show us real slow.
And try to keep them together.
Real slow. Real slow. And can you take a step or two back? We don't want to decapitate you.
Here, I'll take these off.
Okay, just so we can see a little more of your hands.
I don't know why this camera's so far panned so far back.
Go real slow. Slower. Slower. Slower.
They're not together. They're
Yeah.
sporadic.
It's like there's a magnetic field around them of same polarity. It's like your hands are two north magnets. When they try to come together, they get pushed apart. Slow it down even more. There we go. The slowness is working for you. So I don't know if everyone can feel, as she's going really slow, she's starting to entrain us.
Yes, she is.
Yep. So yeah, excellent comment on the slowness. That's exactly what we needed. Slow it down even more. Good. Now she's connecting. You can feel she's entraining us. You may see the aura appear around her head, but that's she's starting to drop in.
It looks like discovering herself.
That's exactly what's happening. Like, oh my God, what's this thing my head's attached to? It's kind of neat. I can move it around. It does stuff.
She's taking it in.
Yep. With the slowness, that was excellent feedback. That's exactly what she needed. And so you'll notice when people start to drop in, they will entrain you. And if you're energy sensitive, you may get some of the visuals. But that's not necessary. There's a calmness to her. There's still some mental activity running, but you can feel it's a lot slower. It's more gentle. It's less threatening. It feels much more benevolent. It's a motor humming instead of screaming. So Lisa, the super slow, I think, is going to be your best friend for a little while.
Okay.
So I would encourage you to do some on your own, 20 minutes. Just do it real slow.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be fast. And whenever you think you're going too slow, go a little slower. And then do that 2 or 3 times until you think you're going ridiculously slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably at a good point. For everybody that's like me and Lisa, if you're too stuck in your head, the slowness is a really powerful healing energy. The reason we go fast is it allows us to skip over we don't want to feel. And so that's why I've always loved to go fast. When I was a kid in grammar school, I used to just do tests super fast because I just wanted to get it done with. I like to drive fast. I had a sport bike. You know, I've exceeded the posted speed limit once or twice. I've always liked to walk fast, do everything fast, and I realized through Carl's work, this movement, that I was going fast as a way to skip over. It's like you see one of those cigarette racing boats on the water. It just barely touches the water. It skips over it, doesn't it? That's exactly what we're doing. We're going fast so we barely have to touch life. And when you slow down, you get dunked in the water, don't you? It's not a perfect metaphor, but here the water is the money, the love, the health, whatever it is we're looking for. What are you feeling, Lisa?
Yeah.
What did you learn here today?
When I really slowed it down, I could really feel myself come in and connect. So, yeah.
Awesome. So one thing I wanted to share with everybody, Lisa's movement brought this up, but one thing that I've been doing recently that's actually been quite helpful is once or twice a day, I just stop where I am and just feel where I am, wiggle my toes a little bit, and ask myself, how can I be fully present to whatever is happening right now? And it's a weird sort of a liberation. And I found it especially helpful doing things I'd rather not be doing. But when you stop resisting it and just let it be what it is, you'll find there's a joy and exhilaration, a presence that shows up. And that's kind of what Lisa showed us here. By slowing down, she started to show up and plug in. It's really nothing to be afraid of, huh? Good.
Nope.
I like the smile.
Thank you.
Very genuine. Awesome. So we're a little over on time, but I want to answer anybody's questions about anything we did today. I'll put myself back on the video. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Again, this is the tool of movement, which is the most difficult to explain, but I think potentially the most powerful of the 7 tools of higher dimensional living. Anyone that hasn't done at least a level 1 class, we are doing one at the end of this month. I would certainly encourage you to attend. All the VIP Club members get a discount, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it here. I do have some promotional events coming up next week. I will be doing 2 coach-a-thons in advance of the class. So I hope everyone can attend. And if you know anybody that would benefit from the class, please send them to the Coach-a-thon, send them to the webinars. This is this company is how I support myself and my family. It's really my only source of income, and I really appreciate everyone for being VIP Club members and supporting me and bringing this work out to the world. Any questions?
So just watching the replays, even if we are not in front of the camera, is beneficial for us.
Absolutely,
seeing
yes.
them dropping in and feeling themselves.
Yep.
It's the energy that we want to have.
Yes, absolutely.
As well.
I guess the explanation that comes to mind is one of the reasons that all the sports records are constantly being broken is a lot of us grew up watching professionals perform at a high level. And so you can really learn a sport to a certain degree just by watching people who are really good over and over. Your body takes it in unconsciously. And so the same thing happens with the movement. By watching other people transform, your body and mind will take it in unconsciously. And you will get a lot of benefit just from being there to support others, just from watching the video. It's kind of crazy. That's how it works. Remember, there's only one of us here.
Brent,
Yes.
if I could just say something, I've been following you for a while and doing the healings and that, and I just really appreciate what you do, and I want you to know that I feel inside the change is happening. It's nothing in the physical that's manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this at a really deep spiritual level. It's almost like the wheels of a clock all joining into one. It's sort of like that, all coming together feeling, and I can't explain it any other way. But it is confusing, and I do need to breathe through this. And the other thing I wanted to say quickly is that I really enjoyed tonight. I'm so grateful that I was able to be here and participate in this, because as these people were going through what they were going through, I experienced the same thing with them. I had a flash of my own areas that I am dealing with now. And they were all presented through, not all, well, I would say all actually, to be honest with you, were presented through these people. So the power of what you brought tonight is astounding in my mind. I mean, I just am so blown away by this stuff. And particularly what happened tonight. This was in my books like the creme de la creme. So thank you, everybody. And
that's wonderful feedback. That's exactly how I hope it would work. So it's really good to get confirmation that what happens is we will all bring up the energy that we and everyone else needs to clear at that moment. And so we'll get a lot of benefit just by watching. And you just also increased your own benefit by participating and sharing. So, that's why the participation is so important. I think that over the long run, learning to read energy and just watching the sessions is the most important piece.
Yeah.
And it is kind of hard to talk about. It's much easier for me to explain muscle testing and subconscious block clearing. That fits our paradigm. This is kind of weird.
It is. It's I try to explain it to people, and I mean, they get it, but I know they don't really get it. And
right.
So
it is hard to articulate into words. It's not a mental thing, and this is the highest level of the work that I've seen ever.
Oh, me too. And I've been through many healers. I've been healing for a lot of years, and I think I've seen them all. And when I came and heard what you were doing, and just really. I just really worked hard to get into the VIP club, just to be a part of what you're doing. And so in my books, and if anybody asks me, and they do, and I've spread your name around everywhere, in the sauna, in the steam room, I'm name dropping you quite a bit because of the benefits that I'm feeling within me. And you can't give away what you don't own. And so when I tell people about you, it's coming from a place of experience, and I really am encouraging people to look you up on the internet, because I know what the Creator can do through you.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad you shared.
Thank you.
All right, Dan says, thank you, everyone, and stay tough. Question from Francis. Francis asks, what do I mean by entrainment? What I mean by entrainment is we're drawn into the matrix. We get present, we get still. It's what happens when we do the consciousness shifting. the way I would describe it is, it's like someone takes the okayness of life and just turns it up a little bit. Many people experience visual effects. You may see auras or halos or faces fade out. Not everybody does. But when someone gets present in the movement, it trains us and draws us into the zone that's similar to when we do consciousness shifting. And, I'm doing a little bit of the beaming as we're working. I don't have Carl's level of skill because I've been only doing this for 7, 8 years. He's done it for like 40. So I can't draw people in as deeply when I'm talking and interacting as Carl can, but I'm doing it a little bit. And when someone really starts to drop in, you'll feel the entrainment. You'll be a little hypnotized, and you may see the visual effects. You may see the aura, the halos, then things start to blur. So it's a great way to know you're on the right track. Let me see if there's any more questions.
Brent?
Yes.
I'm wondering, as a new person to all this, I mean, does it help to do this on our own?
Yeah.
Daily, or I mean,
at first it's a little bit of a challenge. If you've been through the series or ideally done at least a level 1 class, you should have enough foundation to work on your own. The level 2 class is when we go really deep into the movement.
Yeah.
Certainly everyone after the level 2 is ready to start practicing on their own.
So
and,
just doing the shaking and scooping, I mean.
So some of them are a little hard to do. The ones that I tend to do when I do them on my own, the ones I do the most are the stretching and the wrists, which we introduced in level 2, because those are 2 that are less physically demanding, that are easier to do for 20, 30 minutes at a time. So, I mean, Carl doesn't like it when you do other things, but I'm so busy a lot of the time. I don't have time every day to do 30 minutes of movement and watch a game with my son. So I do both at the same time, so shoot me, right? So I'll be sitting there, he'll be going nuts. We'll go Kings go, and I'll just be sitting there, moving my wrist a little bit. And I'll check the clock. I'm like, okay, I'm going to move my wrist for 20 minutes. So the wrist and the stretching are the ones I do the most because they're easier to do for a long period, but any of them will work.
I took the level 1 class, but
the level 2 we go a lot deeper into the movement and explain different ways to do it. In the level 2 class, we talk about there's different ways to do movement with feedback versus on your own, just to create embodiment. Doing it on your own, you're really doing it more about embodiment, not the feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for those who want to learn that, the level 2 class is at least half the class is movement, and we go a lot deeper and have Carl on the whole time.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Let me see if there's any more questions. All right. Well, thank you for everybody for riding out the glitches and such, and thank you for coming out. Again, I would like to remind myself every day that the only reason I can do this work professionally is because people like you come to my classes and subscribe to the VIP Club and do sessions with me. I'm also now opening up to do video feedback sessions. It's the same as my digging rates. So if anybody wants to do one-on-ones, we can do that through Skype or Zoom or whatever. I'll just get in touch with my website. And if you or anybody is interested in coming to the class, we're doing some promotions next week. You don't have to sell it. Just aim them at one of my coachathons or webinars, and I'll take it from there. So thank you for coming out. We'll get the recording up. Namaste and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
Good night. It was great.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.